What's poppin', everyone? Venomous Stare back with another Call of Duty commentary. This time we have Domination on Icebreaker featuring the ICR, which if you're not familiar with the ICR, it's basically like the ACR. It's your sort of standard, very low recoil assault rifle that doesn't necessarily do the most damage per bullet, but it compensates what it lacks in damage for just complete lack of recoil. This thing really is a laser beam once you put grip on it, and grip too. Here I die after capturing the B flag. This is a very common occurrence whenever you're playing Icebreaker because your opponents will very frequently push up through the water and aggress onto you from your flank. If you're playing this map in domination or control, it's very important that you have one person always watching water and one person watching either side of long. See those red barrels up there above where I just shot my sensor dart? If you're spawning on that side, A side, you can have one person camping behind those barrels watching water. And this is the standard setup on B for both sides. You have one guy clipping behind these yellow boxes, sort of gazing into the base of the enemy team. This is best done with an assault rifle, LMG, long rifle, or obviously sniper, and then of course you want to have a guy watching water because the team, after dying a couple times trying to run down long, is going to get frustrated and try to flank you through the boat, or they could even run all the way around. The ICR is a pretty solid gun all around. It's a good beginner's gun because it doesn't have a lot of recoil, it doesn't really fight against you. If your shot is decent, you're going to do pretty well with the ICR. I picked up someone's ICR the other day and they were using the thermal scope. I think it's called like the IVR in this game or something weird. As a hellstorm comes in here and I accidentally pull out one of my care packages, and here I make a huge mistake. I'm aware that my enemies are aggressing upon me when I'm running up into A, and I'm in a very dangerous area. So I try to pull the hellstorm, but I accidentally pull the care package. This delays the hellstorm. This means the enemies encroach upon me to the extent where I can't use the hellstorm unless I suicide. I desperately try to pull off the hellstorm, don't get any kills, and die to my enemies anyway. So it was the worst of both worlds. The lesson there is simply if you know enemies are ahead of you, don't panic and try to join. Or don't panic and try to call in these kill support streaks to try to save your ass, because you're better off just trying to stick to your gun. One of the nice things about the care package is you can call in these score streaks that you normally wouldn't run. Now, I'm not someone who would ever be inclined to put on the recon drone or even the gunship because frankly it's too high. I'm just not going to get that many points in a lot of my games. Or even the strike team is also a little bit too high. So to be able to experiment with these different kill streaks is really nice, and if you're sort of new to the game or you're just trying to learn, I would highly recommend using the care package because it's a solid option. It works particularly well with Engineer, which is of course one of these things that existed in the old games with care packages where you could re-roll them as 3 people aggress upon me and I'm not able to take down any of them. That's sort of one of those moments where in old COD maybe that's an easy triple spray, but in this game it's just a death. Engineer and care package work so well together because if you get crap on your first care package, you just double tap a button and it instantly changes to something else. And when you get a care package like an RC or a dart or a UAV, it's almost never going to be a bad thing to re-roll. In what worst case scenario, you're going to get like a Hellstorm or a CUAV. And then there's always the chance that you get the big money kill streaks that can just completely change games. So here I decide to run through water and the enemy has put up a barricade on B. This is a pretty common tactic on this map. People really like to put barricades in that one specific spot because it prevents them from dying from water. Water is sort of the spot that everyone is very irritated by because it's this obnoxious flank spot that people are always camping. And here I'm under heavy duress. There's at least 3 people firing on me. One rushes along the left side and kills me after I run out of ammo. So I've had a few deaths here, but the main thing I'm concerned about is maintaining B and making sure that we walk into the second half of the game with an advantage. Remember, in Black Ops 4, once 100 tickets hit, you switch sides and there's sort of an intermission, which is what we're seeing right now. In the old Call of Duties, of course, it was just one fluid game all the way through. So if you got on maps with really, really difficult to capture B flags, like Hacienda in this game, for instance, sometimes the game would be decided in the first minute because you were never going to be able to get that B flag back. So with a 30-point advantage, I'm going to, of course, run to B here. One thing you can do is touch A little bit for free points and then go to B. But on some maps, you really need to try to get the first foothold. And here, I immediately look into water because securing your flank often is more important than securing the obvious area, especially when you're playing with a few randoms who you know they're going to look in the area that's obvious first. Speaking of obvious, I'm going to turn on the nice little recon ult here, which is essentially map hacks for your whole team, pulse vision. And you get an insane amount of points for it, which is really why I like running it. I want you to keep an eye on the right side there in my score streaks. And I wish you could go back in time and look at that. But essentially you saw how many points were coming up and going to my skill streaks. I was gaining them very quickly. One habit that I've been trying to break myself of is aiming for the stomach. In old Call of Duties, if you aim for the stomach and got in a gunfight with someone's, you would get view kicked up into their head. View kick is whenever you get shot and the gun would of course kick up very violently with the view. Well, in this game that's been toned down significantly, and that means that aiming for the head and chest area is far more important. Now, a more inexperienced Call of Duty player might actually say, well yeah, aiming for the head and chest, that's really obvious, like why wouldn't you always be doing that? Well, in the old Call of Duties, that actually wasn't the best, because if you got in any sort of back and forth gunfight with someone, and you were aiming at their chest, you would get view kicked above them and miss your shots and barely lose the gunfight. This is especially true when you're using short range weapons. So in this game, there's way less view kick, which is a good thing. View kick is very frustrating and not fun to play against. So that means that you should aim for the head and chest more. This is a scrappy game. This isn't a stacked lobby game. This is a game with randoms, and this is a game where I'm having to do everything in my power to win. Sometimes I post games where I go flawless or I do incredibly well and we really play some below average people and make them look very bad. But I think it's also fun to post these very scrappy, close games where I had to go out of my way to do a lot to win. And quite frankly, I think a lot of times on this channel, especially back in the day when it was a Call of Duty channel, way back before it was a StarCraft channel, I was too picky with the gameplays that I chose, and a lot of times I would want to do a video and I wouldn't have a gameplay that I was willing to use. So yeah, in this game, maybe I died a little bit, but quite frankly, I'm doing everything I can to get on B and make sure that we win. I'm not looking to go for the perfect KDR at expense of the win or expense of my team. I want to get on B, I want to be a nuisance, and I want to be a pain in the ass. Huge Hellstorm missile there by Goonsy. And I think it's worth noting the StarCraft videos will return. They are not going to disappear. This is not a permanent Call of Duty channel. I'm going to be posting both, so don't worry, StarCraft fans. Guy tried to aggress upon me, flanking around. Now on this map, like I said, people are going to get annoyed and come from water, but they also, because of the nature of the ship, will just run right through the ship and flank you that way. They don't have to go all the long way around the map to flank you. They can just go through the ship. There, I very frustratingly die to a Ruin ultimate. Care package comes down, and this is one of those moments where you're just hoping you don't lose it. And it's a strike team. So this is essentially what's called icing the game, as my homie Gov here pulls up a big Hellstorm. Icing the game is whenever you call in a big kill streak at the end of the game that essentially makes your lead insurmountable. The Hellstorm is an incredibly strong kill streak that essentially you should look to run in every single kill streak setup, whether it be low stuff, UAV, counter UAV Hellstorm, or whether it be high stuff, Hellstorm, Sniper's Nest, Mantis. I think that Hellstorm has to be a part of your 1-2-3 punch. It's just that powerful. It's very, very good. Personally, I think the Hellstorm is one of the most fun and quick kill streaks to use. I don't like to use kill streaks where I'm sitting there piloting it forever. And the Hellstorm, you don't really do that. You pull it out, and obviously because you control it, you can really dictate if you want to go right after an objective with it. So that's why I like the Hellstorm, and that was a 40-12 win on Icebreaker. A little bit of long-range play, 20 objective plays. Really got in there and did what I could to help the team win. Make sure you like, sub, and comment.